Hello, and thank you for joining America's Warrior Partnership as we talk with veterans about their journey transitioning from military service to law enforcement. America's Warrior Partnership's mission is to partner with communities to end veteran suicide. We've put together a special fireside chat with law enforcement personnel who will share their experiences of finding purpose and continuing their service post-military. These conversations may have a tendency to bring up feelings and open old wounds. If you or someone you love are experiencing thoughts of harming themselves, please contact the Veteran Crisis Line by dialing 988 or texting 838-255. I encourage you to leverage resources as they are appropriate for you and know that you are not alone. My name is Cheree Tham. I'm the co-founder of America's Warrior Partnership and the Chief of Programs and Initiatives. Here with me today, I have three law enforcement personnel that I'd like to introduce you to.
My name is Jay Ball. I'm a sergeant with the City of Framingham Police Department. It's in Massachusetts. That's why I may have a strange accent to some of y'all, but I still have that military y'all in me, as you see. I've been a police officer about 20 years. Before then, I was in the United States Army. I was in the artillery. Most of my career in law enforcement was centered around working narcotics unit, detectives. Since my promotion, I've gone back to patrol, and I've taken a seat pretty much in believing in mental health, teaching mental health in a way that law enforcement officers and other first responders can, feel comfortable with it, to include being involved in the county's Veterans Treatment Court, which diverts veterans away from traditional court proceedings based on their service and their type of offense they may have been charged with.
So my name is Luis Ochoa. I'm in the Army for 15 years. Now I'm a deputy in Oglethorpe County, Georgia. I've been doing it for too long, probably about 2.5 years. Since I medically retired in 2019. I mean, my police stories are short, so that's what I got so far.
So you got to share with us, how do you come up with a nickname or handle of Cool Whip?
Oh, that was while I was deployed. I was a EOD guy, so I was disarming an idea while getting shot at, and I took it easy, and my team sergeant, one of the ODA sergeants, he thought it was pretty cool and smooth that I didn't flinch, not knowing that I was shitless inside, but got the job done, and I'm still here. So that's what I got Cool Whip from.
Well, my name is James Sapp, and I am the captain with the Richmond County Marshal's Office here in Augusta, Georgia, the home of the Masters Golf Tournament, which we just held here a couple of weeks ago. City is getting back to normal now because a lot of the guests have finally left. But I've been in law enforcement for 20 years. I was in the United States Marine Corps for right at 13 years. Got out as E6, fought in Desert Storm, Desert Shield.
So how do the marshals fit into law enforcement? Because we don't have marshals up here in Mass. Right. How they fit in with the sheriffs and local police?
So,
and all that?
We get that question all the time. When I'm out doing stuff in the community or speaking at an event, they always, what's the difference between the marshal's office and the Richmond County Sheriff's Department? Mm-hmm. Well, the Sheriff's Department, they handle all the criminal stuff. Okay. All of our work actually is civil process. All of our work actually come out of the court system. Of course, we're all law enforcement officers. We all have arrest powers here in the state of Georgia, but they do all the traffic stuff. They do all the armed robberies, the burglaries. They get those calls. All of our stuff come out of the court system from orders from the judges. People are being evicted from homes. People are being sued. City ordinance. People that are, one of the main things we deal with junk vehicles, where a lot of junk vehicles are, stored on property and stuff, and it becomes a nuisance and so we try to force those ordinances and stuff like that. Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have heard, as many of our listeners or viewers have, is individuals that serve in the military, they want to go into law enforcement. And sometimes that may be the case, and sometimes that's not the case. Could we have a little discussion about when you got out of the military, what was your journey from going to the military into deciding that you wanted to do law enforcement?
If no one minds, I mean, I'll start. Yeah, it started back when I was a teenager. Looking back at my room, all I had was posters of Nine Inch Nails. I was a big Nine Inch Nails fan, and Marine Corps posters. And at the last minute, I switched over. The Army recruiter grabbed me, and I went on my journey in the Army. I always wanted to be a police officer, though. I wanted to be a Mass State Trooper. Obviously, just like the Marine Corps, that didn't happen. I decided to turn towards local policing. When I was getting out, I left active duty. I went to RTC for a few years, but I truly wanted to become a police officer. At that time, some of the mental health things that I was going through, they were there. I just didn't recognize them. So my process getting into policing was easy. At that point, I was a veteran coming out. In Massachusetts, I scored very well on the exam. I got like a 98, but in Mass, they put you as a veteran and also as a disabled veteran, they'll put you at the top of the list. So it was very, I said easy, but it was a seamless process getting on. You do hear in my state, some people, and they were friends of mine, still acquaintances, that, oh, veterans, you guys are, you get the preferential treatment. And I kind of sit there and say, well, yes. Well, you were in a classroom. No offense to people in college, but while you were in a classroom, we had written that blank check. And so that process was good. I did really well getting into policing, going along, learning things. I think that it was beneficial to me to have been in the military. I just see a lot in me that I can attribute back to what I learned in the military. And some of those, the naysayers that were like, well, you're broken, you're too violent, and not specifically, but military as a whole, you would hear these things. And it would kind of rub me the wrong way, because I think that life experience that the three of us and other military personnel have, I think it's a benefit to the job as a police officer.
Well, I always wanted to be a police officer. Same thing when I was young. But I wasn't born in the United States. So you got to be an American citizen to become a cop. I had a green card, and 9/11 happened. So I'm like, whoa, no, we just not gonna let that happen. So I went to the Marine Corps, and they're like, oh, you're too old, because I was 32 at that time. And then I'm like, all right. So I went to the Army, and I said, I want to jump out of planes and dislocate souls. The guy's like, what? I said, that's what I want to do that. So he goes, well, you ever heard of the infantry? I said, well, yes, but can I jump out of planes? Like, all right. So I went and joined the infantry, became a paratrooper, ended up with the 82nd Airborne Division, 3 deployments with them, got hurt, came back. I couldn't jump out of planes anymore. And they said, you're going to go drive tanks. I said, no, I'm a light infantry. I'm not going to drive tanks. That's not happening. So I went to try special forces. You got to jump out of planes. I said, whatever. Can jump. And I say, how about that guy in the bomb suit? Because I saw him in Afghanistan. And EOD, because you're crazy enough. And I said, I don't know. We'll figure it out. So I joined EOD, did it for 10 years. I got 4 deployments as a EOD tech, attached to a Special Operations Command. And that was it. Got out medically discharged out of the military, I think 2019, because I got hurt. And came home. And I said, all right, let me try this police officer thing, because I always wanted to do it. But then Ukraine stuff happened. I said, you know what? Let me go out there, because I don't know. I guess it's in the blood. I'm a deployment freak, if you will, I guess. But then at that time, I was married to my wife for 15 years. And in my whole career, we only spent 1 year together, one whole year out of 15. So I'm like, well, I got to stop being selfish. So I went to the academy instead of going to Ukraine and became a deputy sheriff, which I love. I love helping people. And now, sorry about that one. That was going to be all right. Bear with me for a second. So my wife passed 2 months ago. So now just me and my kid. And just me and my 17-year-old with Asperger's. And when I became a police officer, my plan is to help kids with disabilities, like be an investigator for child abuse. And that was my main goal when I became a police officer. And so now it's just like I say, it's just him and I, and try to figure out what's next in life. So I'm glad I didn't go to Ukraine. So I got to spend a couple of more months with my wife. So sorry about that. That's what I got right now.
Well, I think I speak for all of us that there's no apology required here. And I am sorry for your loss. And anything that you need, just reach out.
Well done.
Okay. Cool. With that, really, that cut deep, man. That cut me deep right there. My condolences, and that cut real deep to me. But once I got out of the Marine Corps, I didn't have any. I really didn't know what I wanted to do, to be quite honest, because I was mainly infantry, and I was a drill instructor and, mainly infantry. I worked on a rifle range for a while, but once I got out, I was riding around job searching, and I saw a friend of mine that was coming out of Food Line grocery store. We have some of those down south here. Not many of them that are left now, but his name was Kevin, and he was well dressed and he had a briefcase, and he just looked important. And I was unemployed, and I said, well, let me see what he does, And he was telling me what he did, and I worked for Food Line for about 7 years as a loss prevention agent, and then I also worked for Food Line as a safety manager. And then once I transitioned out of that job, I worked for Sears Termatic Pest Controls as a sales rep. But I will never forget the day. This is the God's honest truth, because I share it so many times when I'm out speaking about opportunities and how to just take advantage of that opportunity that you get in life. I was riding around in my little Sears truck, and I saw a Richmond County Marshal's vehicle. I had never seen that vehicle. It was pretty, and it's similar to the cars we're driving now, pretty blue car, and it just caught my attention. And I looked at the car, and I looked at the officer in the vehicle, and at that split moment, I saw myself doing that job. Didn't know when it was going to happen, didn't know how it was going to happen. It might have been a year after I had that encounter where I actually saw myself doing that job. I ran into one of my church members, and I just asked him about the marshal's office. And he said, yeah, I can get you an application. You'll probably have to start out working part-time, which I did. Got on work part-time, and for 1 year as a security officer, then the marshal, who is equivalent to the sheriff here in the county, he sent me to the police academy, and I got my certification. And I've been on the job now for 20 years. starting out as a part-time security officer. Probably one of the best moves I've ever made because, you know, I have a heart for people. You know, I enjoy serving this community. I have, you know, I have a servant's heart. That's what people told me. I love helping people that can't help themselves. And that's one of the main reasons that I chose to go in this line of profession.